Welcome to today's presentation. This video is about simplification of algebraic expressions. The question is, simplify completely the expression 6x squared y squared minus 4xy cubed all over 9x cubed y minus 4xy cubed. Simplification of algebraic expressions is achieved by factorization and then cancelling where possible. Now, beginning with the numerator, I want us to identify this. We have 6x squared y squared minus 4xy cubed. Now, beginning with the numerical values, that is 6 and 4, the common factor here is 2. So we factor out 2. And then for x squared and x, the common factor is x. We pick the one with the lowest power. So we have x power 1 and x squared. So we identify x power 1, which is x. And then for y's, we have y squared, which has the lowest power. So we factor out y squared. Every other thing will remain within the brackets. Well, when we factored out 2 here, that is from 6, we are left with 3. And if we factor out x from x squared, we are left with x. If we factor out y squared from this y squared, we are left with 1. So we have 3x times 1, which is just 3x. And then for this term, when we factor out 2 from this, we are left with 2. So remember, they are separated by a minus. So we are left with 2 there. And then for x, when we factor out x, we are left with 1. So 2 times 1 is just 2. For y cubed, we were factoring out y squared. That means we'll be left with y. And then we close the brackets. So if we multiply 2xy squared by 3x, we should get back to this. And also, if we multiply 2xy squared by this, we should get back to this. Now, this is the numerator factorized. We are going to factorize the denominator too. So for the denominator, we have 9x cubed y minus 4xy cubed. So again, we are going to identify common factors. For the numerical values, we have 9 and 4. There's no common factor here, so they'll remain the way they are. And then for x cubed and x, we have x as a common factor. So we factor out x. And then for y, we have y and y cubed. So y is the common factor with the lowest power. So we have y. So we factor out y here. And then within the brackets, we'll be left with 9. And for x cubed, we factored out x. That means you should be left with x squared. Multiplying x by x squared gets us back to x cubed. And then for y, we had factored out y, so we are left with 1. So 9x squared times 1 is just 9x squared. And then we subtract, that is for this part, 4. And then here we have x, and x was factored out, leaving us with 1. So 4 times 1 is just 4. Again, y cubed, we had factored out y. So y factored out leaves us with y squared. So that y times y squared should give us back y cubed. Again, we close. Now at this point, we can identify a difference of 2 squares. Now 9x squared is just equivalent to 3x squared. That is, we can also express this as xy into 9x squared is 3x squared. That means we square 3 to give us 9, we square x to give us x squared, and then minus, here we have 2y squared. Okay, Just like I said before, this is a difference of two squares. You can recall that. If you're given a difference of two squares, say a squared minus b squared, this can be factorized as a plus b into a minus b. So this is a quadratic identity that should help us in factorization of expressions in this form. That is a difference of two squares. Now applying that here, we will have x, y into, now 3x is our a in this case. Remember, we have a squared and here we have 3x squared. Again, we have b squared and here we have 2y squared. So a is 3x, b is 2y. So just substituting 3x and 2y in this identity, we are going to have, for the first bracket, like we have here a plus b, so the first bracket will have 3x plus 2y. And then the next bracket we have, that is a minus b, 3x minus 2y. So up to this point, we cannot factorize further, and therefore we say we have factorized the denominator completely. Now we have the numerator and denominator. The numerator here is 2xy squared 3x minus 2y bracket. So let's rewrite it. 2xy squared into 3x minus 2y all over the denominator. So the denominator is as expressed here. Xy into 3x plus 2y into 3x minus 2y. At this point, we have factorized completely. Now on the numerator and denominator, we want to identify common factors. Of course, here we have 3x minus 2y, and on the denominator, we also have 3x minus 2y. That means they can cancel. So we cancel 3x minus 2y with 3x minus 2y on the denominator. Now we'll further have 2xy squared all over xy into 3x plus 2y. Still, we can see that we have common factors. That is, x cancels x. And again, for y squared and y, remember y squared is y times y. And then on the denominator, we have y. So this y will cancel one of the y's on the numerator so that we are left with y. So on the numerator, we'll have 2 times y. Remember, y has cancelled one of the y's in this, so we are left with y. So in the denominator, we are only left with 3x plus 2y. And this is the simplified form of the original expression. And with that, we come to the end of the solution to this problem. Thank you for staying with me up to this end. Thank you for watching. See you on the next one.